Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Monday, May 18th, 2026, and this show begins now. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio's YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show and subscribing to the channel to support the network, among other things. On today's great episode, myself and Captain will first react to all things Toronto Rock this weekend. And it was a Toronto Rock weekend. As good as Game 1 was, Game 2, they just flexed their muscles and were the better team. So we'll give credit to them. We'll talk about the rookies. We'll talk about Nick Rose. Talk about Matt Sawyer. Did Halifax miss an opportunity possibly? We'll talk about all of it for now. And then at the final and second segment, I will, what am I going to do? Oh, yeah. I'm going to give a bow. I'm going to put a bow in the Toronto Rock season. Basically, where I have a Sam English take I want people to hear, and we're going to talk about the other team. That what if this team played the Toronto Rock? How would things have played out? All right. For those of you that are wondering where Pat Gregoire is, his flight was delayed early this morning, and so you know how Canada apparently sucks with airplanes. I found out by just doing this show, more and more people that matter. So we wish Pat Gregoire safe travels. I wonder if Teddy's back in his neck of the woods. Very intriguing. They must favor Teddy more. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Before we get going and bringing Captain here, we have a shop of merchandise. Go to dailydivelacks.creator-spring.com. This is merchandise with the show logo. We will be adding more of that soon, by the way. But it's one of the easiest ways to support the show. You're like, well, what link was that again? It's in the social media bios found at Instagram and Twitter, Daily Dive LAX. Now let's bring in a man who has really had an awesome season and somehow, some way, rallied to win our Daily Dive Playoff Bracket Challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not Tim Dillon, it's Captain Howard. Wow, nice. It would do that right away. Great intro. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm not too bad. Better than the camera right now. That keeps freezing, but we'll battle through.
Well, I mean, you do the show enough, it starts like, all right, pal, you got a life to live. It's fine. It's fine. So, were you surprised when I texted you that you had actually won that thing over Tim Dillon?
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like
I need to redo the points next year.
Yeah, because I'm going to say that
he has the finals teams. It's not like just because the Rock won does not mean you should. I don't know.
He was about 98% accurate
on
that bracket challenge, which is probably something that's never happened in NLL in who knows how long. I just happened to get lucky with Rock in the final there. But it's funny because all season long, like I'll have these random thoughts, and I think I sent that text with how I was doing it and who I was putting as the winner at probably like a 2 or 3 a.m. random.
I love it. I love it.
Usual.
So what I'm probably going to do next year, just for people that want to know, they probably don't. There's probably 2 people that don't care about this. I want to do it where like the finals victory is only worth 5 points and not 10. That might have, I don't know. I'll have to check it back. As for Tim Dillon, yours is a little bit Mickey Mouse, but congratulations anyways. I also did mention on the show on Friday, you had told me saying, hey, if the Rock win, they're sweeping. And like if the Thunderbirds win, they're sweeping. And I tell folks like, hey, like this guy knows his stuff, and I don't want to admit it, but you are right. And the reason I don't want to admit it because I wanted a game 3 so badly. Badly.
Me too. Like, don't get me wrong. I sat here on the couch yesterday thinking like, man, how do I get myself some tickets to Hamilton there for game 3? But yeah, no, the Rock pulled through. I had a feeling and it turned out. And so
I got a feeling.
It's crazy to think I was there in 2011 when they won.
That's awesome.
I'm pretty sure I bought this jersey the next year. I didn't buy it that year because
wow,
there was a picture. The beer store put out a magazine up here in Ontario, and I remember getting it, and I'm like looking. I'm like, man, I'm in the picture. I couldn't find it to pull it for the show, but yeah, the championship picture. I'm like, I'm still in my seat, sitting up there, watching Bob Watson and the boys.
That's awesome. So like, I'm looking at this like the Rock did it. Here's the first question for you. You talk about the games, and then we'll recap them. But like, if this had gone to 3, could the Rock? I mean, it just felt like they kind of put all their. I mean, obviously everyone put all their effort into this weekend. But it just feels like this was the weekend for them. I can't describe why I feel that way. Like, would Halifax have done it in 3?
Dude, I just like looking at those 2 games and just how deep Toronto was.
True.
Like both game 1 and game 2, the Rock had 8 different goal scorers, and that includes Curse putting up 4 goals himself. So 7 other goal scorers that game.
Crazy.
And then I think it was game 1, Boucher and Hiltz each had a hat trick.
Yeah.
So when you're clicking that deep with 8 goal scorers, and then on the back end, like Rosie, 82% save in the second game was huge. Only 77 in the first game, but I think the difference between this year and many years, okay, the Bandits aside, but Rosie made those saves when it needed to, when it mattered.
Yes.
I'll be perfectly honest. I chirped a guy all season long about the lack of movement, but go and rewatch that. I think that the 3rd and 4th quarter in game 2 there, buddy, like he was all over the place, making those, like you could tell he was putting everything into making sure the boys, kept the momentum on their side, dude. It was wild.
And it also goes to show both second halves. This is bonkers to me. And Halifax Thunderbirds, their offense never died until these second halves rolled around because I thought coming in, I thought the Thunderbirds had shown their coaching staff had the better adjustments. I disagree with that take now for myself because game 1, second half, there's 2 goals scored by Halifax. It's the back-to-back Cody Jamieson goals. Game 2, they scored as many goals as you and I did. And that's not a slight. It's crazy how the Rock just, when it came time and it was pushed, they were down 9-4 in game 1. And I felt like, woof, it's going to be burning in the nest. And like the scrap at the end of game 1. And that was the only fight Halifax had. I'm blown away. But I'm also very impressed. Like they earned it. I want to rewind, and then we'll get to the Rose and Sawyer and Rock future stuff. CJ Kirst. They gave the finals MVP to Sam English, right?
Yeah.
And while he was probably, if I had a ballot for this one, 2nd or 3rd. Like he was, for a transition guy to put up that many points, I get it. Like I do. But there's so many transition guys for them. And I don't think they win a game this weekend, or at least game 1 for that matter, if CJ Kirst does not go ballistic in that 3rd quarter. Like, they're down 9-4. He scores 3 in a row, and he has scored the last 4 Rock goals. Like, they are getting blown out of that game if he does not somehow find a way. And all season long, I know this shouldn't matter for finals MVP, but all season long, CJ Kirst has found a way to score when you think you had him dead to uprights. And I think that's I was a little bit surprised that did not do the heavy lifting for Finals MVP. How cool was that? Because this rookie is nasty, bro.
Yeah. On the contrary, it's to know that it was that tough a decision tells you that, the Rock have a very bright future ahead of them. Because either one of those guys could have gotten it. And really and truly, like I could even argue for Rosie, just making those key saves. He wasn't a standout, but that consistency was a real helper for that.
They had at least 3 guys that could have won the award. I agree with that. Yeah. It's a good conversation to have if you're them.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Let's flip it to Nick Rose. You mentioned the consistency. Captain, I can't remember a bad game from him this playoffs. Well, this season. Since he got back, I'm trying to look in my brain. I don't know when I thought, maybe it was that it's ironic they lost the Bandits still. But I don't, that's still crazy, which we'll get to. I just can't believe that he was 0 blemishes. No one, even that Bandits loss, you kind of have to bring it up because it's Buffalo, but you can't look back and remember, oh yeah, he was awful that game. He was just steady Eddie Nick Rose.
Yeah, no, and that's what they needed. Steady Eddie. And again, there was a couple times against Halifax there where they just needed that key save. Halifax didn't they didn't get a lot of shots. He only had 34 saves in game 2, but it's making the ones that count and mattered was the real difference here.
I also remind people, I said it coming into Friday, on the Friday show, the same team that Nick Rose just beat, Del Bianco and Dobson could not. And you were saying, Halifax, I agree with you, probably would have beaten Vancouver 2 out of 3 because they find ways to beat good teams. But yeah, them not cracking the code on Rose or the defense, shout out to the Rock, man. And I said, I thought that on paper, the Rock's edge here for the Final 4 teams was the offense. Their defense in transition was probably the reason they won this finals easily.
Oh, yes.
10 different guys. The fact that Hugh Kelleher was the Hukel guy, come on. When those guys are scoring, it's like if Clark Peterson and Withers and Hasegaard are scoring for Halifax.
Oh, yeah, especially when he's getting the dish off from Latrell, too, right?
Crazy. I love the fact Latrell stayed here. Harry, wow. Stayed healthy. Wow, that was awful. Another one I want to give credit to is Matt Sawyer. I mean, Miracle Trice he's got to be emotional right now. I mean, he's just he doesn't know what to think. Fire him, extend him, give him another short leash next year. Unbelievable stuff by Matt Sawyer. And he was I know we can credit the defense, obviously, in hindsight. Troy Holochuk had to play 5 or 6 games for them. And Matt Sawyer had to be head coach for that.
Well, I was going to say, man, throwing that second challenge flag in the first quarter.
That was insanity.
Oh, you had people's heads blowing up. It's a challenge a half. He can't do that. And,
if he doesn't run out of time, he's doing that garbage. What are we doing, man?
Right. But so you're looking at the game thinking if they lose this, you're going to be all over this clown for throwing 2 challenges in the first quarter. But it took back a momentum goal. So
I was going to say the counterpoint, the devil's advocate to that is they were leading 4-2, and if that 4-3 goes in, does Halifax spark a run? And the best part was they wouldn't let them. So
exactly,
it was. I mean, I still wouldn't have done it, but man, you gotta feel like something's. Maybe you saw your team getting tired. I don't know, but to throw that in that moment, you had to have some cojones, man.
Yeah, that's why he's championship coach this season.
I want to ask you, and then we'll get the bigger picture for the Rock going forward. Hello, Timmy Hortons. So let's flip to Halifax real quick. I mentioned that they led 9-4 at halftime of game 1, which means they had a game plan. And in game 2, it was close to half. But for that game 1 halftime, does this feel like a missed opportunity? Because I remind you last year when they lost to the Rush, it was like, wow, what could have been? How do you let that happen that late? And in this one, it's like 9-4 on the road, and you just get they just play with your feelings. This gotta feel this one feels almost tougher than last year.
Oh, for sure. Like anytime you lose in the final, it's gut-wrenching.
You got so far, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, they've got a lot of reflecting to do this off season. But yeah, this one way tougher to take than last season.
I just want to mention this, and then I guess we'll get to our Toronto Rock big picture stuff here. So I don't believe in jinxes, but I do believe in pressure applied. And there are 3 players this year, Captain, I think I owe an apology to. And you're gonna get a crack at this. It ain't nothing serious. Earlier this year, after like 4 or 5 games, I put out some Connor Fields graphic about the lack of turnovers and how many points. This is crazy precedent. 4 players actually, but crazy precedent. And after that, didn't have a bunch of turnovers, but still, like the Rochester just fell off a cliff, right?
Yeah.
I put out. I think Andrew Q did me justice because he couldn't stay healthy anyways. But to Jeff T, I'm like, boy, the Black Bears have never had a 3-game over 500 thing. And they did not win another game after that. And then my guy, I have made Jason Knox, for those that watch this show, household name famous, right? And after the first half of game 1, I posted a Terminator graphic or GIF. It said #machine, and it was the 11 in his jersey number was the I in machine. And he was almost non-existent after that. He had like 1 goal, I believe, in game 2. It might have been none in game 2. But I felt like, man, those 3 guys, at their highest of highs, I had to make it about me. I mean, good Lord, this is rough. I don't know if Knox was watching the Twitter after game 1, but buddy, I feel bad. What could have been for those 3 guys this year, man?
Don't you be sure. I want any tweets about me in my betting next season.
That's right. Captain's on a 17-0 run with his ladders. I might have done that this year. Well, it's kind of like my remember when I had like a perfect round and then I added that 1 extra one like an idiot and like everything had like a horrible cold streak after that?
Yeah.
Like I'm just like kicking, life while it's down and life is coming back to smack me right in the butt, dude. Like, you wish. My bad. All right, let's do bigger picture now for a couple of things. Number 1, the rookies. And I'll look up just this real quick, the draft order, because I believe the Calgary pick, it was, actually, I just look at the standings. Calgary has gifted the Toronto Rock the 4th overall pick. Now, last year, I said, hey, I think Jimmy Dowd should at least trade 1 or 2 of those guys. And 1 or 2 of those guys that he did not trade, Owen Hiltz and Finals MVP Sam English. So I apologize to Jimmy Dowd for that. But, Captain, how do you believe we've started a dynasty here in Toronto? I'm not telling you asking you if it's one now. Do you foresee, with your mind's eye and your El Capitan knowledge, this going on a juggernaut? Because we saw a lot of promise this year. What is your take, though?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
I'll go back to what you were saying with how a couple teams couldn't crack Halifax, but Toronto did.
Right.
All season I chirp Rosie, but his actual style of play with his lack of movement never tired him out every time Halifax had a reset or a deep run in their end, right? So like Dalbs and Dobson are very, very good goalies. Great to watch. I love watching Dalbs' movements and stuff, but you got to think after 3 or 4 resets, a lot of that movement catches up to a guy. So I think Toronto is in a great spot with their back end and Rosie. And then you add in these, these rookies that have firepower. I think they're definitely in a good spot here to have a couple of seasons, in the top tier.
Right.
We know Georgia has a little bit of catching up to do with face-offs and
more offensive star power, I think.
Yeah, a little bit of adjustments on the offense and face-offs. Vancouver has to find some consistency.
Some youth maybe soon.
Yeah, and we know Buffalo, we haven't heard yet from Vince, but
true.
Like there could be a lot of changes in Buffalo, right? So you're basically looking at like a Colorado, Toronto, Vancouver in the top tier. But as I was saying, like the style of Toronto's play just looks to be a kind of a top-notch system and an unbeatable system for the next year or two anyways.
Right. Colorado's one that keeps on slipping my mind. Like, and they shouldn't, but like Dylan Ward is not young, but he's also not old yet, I don't think. Does the Nick Rose age bother you yet?
Again, like
if he's gonna the play style
with his style of play, right? Like you'll sit here and look at my Twitter and be like, oh yeah, don't move your feet, this, that, the other thing. But like, he's not going to wear his body out. And as we've seen in game 2, like he put it on the line. He made those extra movements, those dive across saves, the whole bit when it mattered. So I think he's got a few years left in him if that decor locks into that style of play of keeping the outside shots and not allowing the east to west movement against him.
I like that a lot, actually. I think Las Vegas, if Caleb Kahn is the second coming, or if like they do figure out the goalie, I think Vegas could be scary, especially that their home barn, albeit only 6,000 people, does get electric. I could see that. Like the offense speaks for itself, obviously.
Yeah, I didn't really touch on Ottawa or Vegas just because of, again, the roller coaster rides of their seasons. But
right.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think Rosie's going to be good for a few years. I think Toronto's going to be very dangerous for a few years.
I like that. Let's talk Nick Rose's legacy here. I don't want to do that. That seems mean because I feel like if I end with this, it'll be weird. I want to talk Buffalo Bandits part of this first because Scott Loeffler got so frustrated with myself and Adam Levy for dare implying that Buffalo fans can be a little bit obnoxious. Like if that was us. Like, I saw the tweets, man. Like it's not Loeffler's fault, but like that happens. And I get it. Like when you're the 3-time defending champs, you have a right to talk a little bit. And they were one of the last teams to beat this Rock team, even though Seals beat them in game 2, but don't worry about that. Where do you lie on if Buffalo had gone this far? Because I don't know where you land on this.
I don't like you lost game 1 of you lost in round 1 of elimination. Like you lost. So it doesn't matter, like maybe Vancouver could sit here and argue the same thing. Wow, we
were better. Yeah.
But and it's why I as much as any Bandit fans or Bandit associates hate this, but like I couldn't be happier to see them kind of get knocked down a few pegs and maybe not make the playoffs for a couple seasons and see how that fan base does. I'm not saying like I want people to disappear or whatever.
The league, but not the 19,070.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Saskatchewan. And I've said it before, like when they first got a team, and in that playoff run, I remember watching the game against Calgary, and I remember thinking like none of these fans know anything because they're so new. So it was entertaining, like chirping each other in the, up in the crowd, because like some of these people didn't even know. Yeah. But so it was a big party, but like years down the road, when the team stopped winning, the fans stopped showing up. So I'm curious what happens in Buffalo, because I know they have a lot of diehard, very knowledgeable, good fans, but I'm also aware there's probably a few thousand just hanging on to the bandwagon because of one win after another, right?
There was 17,000 in a couple of games, and I was like, I even asked B Gore about it, and she was like, fan of the year B, who knows her stuff by now, is like, hey, like, yes, y'all need to get back. Like, we have a couple of losses in a row, and suddenly y'all forget that we're 3-time defending champion. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, and like the other side of it is just look at Calgary and Colorado. They haven't won championships recently, but like Calgary's still packing that barn. Colorado's still packing that barn. So like I say, give me 2 seasons of Bandits not making the playoffs, and let's see how that average works out there.
Selfishly, I want to see Dane and Josh. I'm sure you do too. But great point. Life on the line, I don't think Matt Vince is coming back, which I do think starts that trend. But
I agree.
I will say, almost identical to what you say about Toronto as well. And it's the way the playoffs work. There's a few narratives that were very, very exhausting in this postseason. One of them was the single game elimination. And after watching Halifax, it's like, I don't think that was a one-off for them. As for Georgia beating Buffalo, Buffalo was trying to figure things out all year, and I thought Joe Rez was a nice juice addition, but did I think they were suddenly overpowered? Absolutely not. I'm shocked they got blown out in that game. I'm not shocked they lost before it happened, before the finals happened. For the Rock, go ahead if you want to touch on that real quick.
I was going to say, I love that first round single game elimination.
For now, yeah.
Like, a lot of people sit here, and to be honest, I think a lot of it is like Bandit fans or supporters, but people are
coping.
Well, they're more so upset because they feel like, and I'm the same in a sense. Like if Georgia would have made it to the finals over Buffalo, and we would have watched game 2 in front of 4,500 fans, like of course it looks bad on a league, right? Like so in a perfect world, Buffalo, Colorado final, 2 packed barns, right? But and I think that's where a lot of people are sort of a butthurt on, essentially, and then saying that like too. An 8th and a 6th seed playing in the finals looks bad on the league. Like, what do you mean it looks bad on the league? It's great entertainment. Like, okay, I predicted it, and I'm love that it was that. But at the end of the day, like the more teams that are making it to the finals, we're seeing fan bases grow. We're seeing more eyes on the game. We're seeing different networks pick it up.
Yeah.
So we got to look at more of the positives here. But yeah, a lot of people are just, I think they were so worried, like me, that we'd see a final with 3,500 fans, but we just,
And again, like the counter, the nice, and I don't want to say counter because it sounds like argumentative, but just the glass half full of that would be, the Hawks were god awful, and the Falcons have always been choke artists. Like Georgia Swarm winning something, if the league is to explode, how big would that be for their fan base? And I'm not a Swarm fan. Hello, Kyle the goalie. These fan bases, like, what if the Rush had won the title? Like, it would be great. And then you come back a little bit more. Like, we don't know until it happens.
Yeah,
it sucks in the moment, but I mean, that means next year, like Albany finally started showing up before the thief of the night came to them.
Yeah, and at the start, like looking at the start of the playoffs, I really wanted to see Vancouver get a deep run because they're starting to open up that barn, and they're starting to see,
they had an upper bowl earlier this year open up.
Exactly, right? So, like, I'm seeing all sides of it,
Yeah.
from, different fan bases and different eyes sort of thing, but at the end of the day, like, that first round elimination, having different teams make it to the finals, like, this was a great, great run, great playoffs to watch, very entertaining all the way through.
Just a couple more narratives I wanted to squash quickly was the fact that they said, like, well, it was like, are these like the best teams really? Like this kind of single game elimination thing, but I was like, I just like, or the refs or whatever. There was just a lot of coping for losing, and it kind of, what is that?
Let's clean myself off my Toronto Rock.
The Rock towel. I love when they were waving the towels in game one. That was amazing theater, by the way. Like game one was a masterpiece, but
sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. And like the Rock winning it all, like, oh, well, the Bandits this. I'm like, well, I mean, to be fair, like they all played each other, and I had given credit to the Buffalo Bandits. They had beaten this single game elimination format, so they were the ones that could say, oh, well, that should not matter. And best part is these players are not thinking that I'm deep down anyways.
No, and also too, like the other side of Toronto winning, Oshawa entered the chat this season, and that ruffled a few feathers and took some fans away from Hamilton, right?
And you saw it firsthand, yeah.
Yeah, so the Rock just won. We've got a hotbed up here, and this is just going to help both these teams. Obviously, it's going to help the Rock, but yeah, this is very positive, and I 100% think these two teams should have been in the finals. Just looking at the way they played all season long, and
they dug down.
Halifax, take away their record and just look at how many close games they had. Like these two teams were actually pretty consistent all season long.
Agreed. I don't know if you saw the thing yet, but on March 17th or whatever it was, I have a reel I found where because I searched Toronto Rock on my Instagram, and that reel kept popping. I was like, what did I say that day? And I said, why can't they win the championship? Is my only gripe that they have rookies. And I'm like, why did I not pick these guys? I had an entire segment like I did with the Bandits a couple of years ago, and I didn't have the balls to pick them. Shame on me. And I do think the best team won. And by the way, for the Hamilton thing first of all, across sports, like teams like Foxborough Patriots are not that's not who they are. They're the New England Patriots. New York Giants and New York Jets, LOL. Chicago Bears might be the Bears playing in Indiana, whatever it is, or whatever the city they're going to. So it has all the time, and Toronto Rock have earned the right to have that name. Like they are Toronto Rock.
Yeah, they've got a very good, powerful brand.
Yeah,
with it all.
Why change the Hamilton? What do we got? That's dumb.
It's just because of like how close these cities are and how much rivalry there is between
like a gangbanger type thing.
Well, we also got like the CFL, right? There is a Toronto CFL team. There is a Hamilton CFL team.
Oh, that doesn't help.
Well, then you look PWHL.
Oh,
they just they already have a Toronto team. Well, now next season there's a Hamilton team, right?
That's not help.
So I understand from like a local's perspective within the Hamilton core, like where they're at, but our following, the Toronto Rock following, the lacrosse community within, and even just the sports community, because at the end of the day, we need the average sports viewer and lover to come out and check out these games.
The problem is the newcomers are going to see Hamilton and they're not going to get it. But I do think the Toronto Rock are almost like a Philadelphia Wings from like just historically. They feel like the Buffalo Bandits, the Wings, they feel like OGs to me.
Yeah, but and the persona of the Rock too, like they have a good history, two championships too, right? So like I don't think they're gonna have to worry so much, and maybe maybe things won't be so good on a local level, but they're going to continue to have support from all over the province, especially if Buffalo starts to fade. You're going to see a few fans, a few good sports fans that were taking the trip. Well, they were, we already had a pile of people taking the trip from Southern Ontario across the border for Bandit games because the entertainment was better, like the whole sort of thing, right? But now we have the Rock. Maybe they have a dynasty now. They just have a championship. So we might start to see a few of those people come back to the Hammer and
we have seen the potential, like I said, game one with the towels. That was electric. That was cool.
And that, like, I've been to a lot of barns, and the upgrades they made in Hamilton, dude, like, it is a fantastic night out for anybody that's into sports. Like that venue is beautiful now. So no excuses next season for people not to get out and check out this championship team.
I'm clipping that. You're welcome. All right. Finally on this game, or just the segment here, Nick Rose. I have to end it here. And I try not to let my feelings get involved because I have like talked Nick Rose. I've had him on the show. Very positive guy. I know he hears the noise just like, yeah, it's natural. But man, the guy who deserves it just because he stood there and took it and did not ever waver, like kept trusting his work ethic. His legacy with one instead of 0 rings is unreal. But this was such an awesome moment for him.
Oh, yes.
My answer to that earlier was I think what CJ Kurtz did in the third quarter of game one was just that much, was to me. Oh, I was going to mention that, Kevin. Like if I had a finals moment, like a finals MVP moment, it was CJ Kurtz doing what he did.
Yeah, no, earlier we're saying there's easy three picks for that. Yeah, I mean,
like handful of guys you would have been, that's fine. Yeah. All right, Cap, any parting shots or words? I think we're doing the season finale next Friday. It might be this Friday, but any parting shots before that final show with us?
No, man. Like I say, I was one of those criticizing Rosie, especially when I was a Rock fan.
Closet Rock fan, this guy.
But yeah, no, credit where credit's due. His style really pulled through in the end. His attitude, his mindset never, like you said, never wavered. That's a very good sort of role model season.
Yeah.
And up to this point, career to watch and take inspiration from, even to battle through injury this year, to have, gotten traded and come back. Like he hasn't had the easiest road, but to keep to his true self and, not break to, people like me on X, is great. So shout out to Nick Rose, shout out to the Rock. I hope this brings a lot more positives to Ontario, Southern Ontario, Eastern Ontario, so that we can get more eyes out next season, fill that barn in Hamilton, keep the barn packed in Oshawa, and, obviously keep the barn packed in Buffalo, regardless of what goes on moving forward. But yeah, lots of positives to end the season, and lots of positives from Toronto winning in this area.
I always have to make jokes, right? Nick Rose won a championship before Grand Theft Auto 6 came out.
Well, hey, you can also, one of the big news pieces here in Toronto is that they're going to see that Matthews finally won the cup. It just happened to be Mark Matthews with the Toronto Rock and not not Austin Matthews.
His health was
Toronto Maple Laughs.
So I like that name for them now. Yeah, no, it's cool. Like I love, like, there was a lot of new fans I saw. One more thing here too is that, like, TSN was, they snubbed a Cavaliers Pistons game 7. God bless them. I think everyone was watching that anyways. I love the NBA, but come on.
Well, and leading up, one thing leading up to the final playoff games here, like Toronto got out and got busy getting on a lot of the morning shows. I'm pretty sure
the Blue Jays locked in.
Dawick threw out the first pitch at a Jays game too. Like, they credit to like their media team and not like their end too for
John Gruden too.
For making sure that they got loud and got out there to as many eyes as they could for this game. So
I will say, yeah, of course, for the John Gruden thing, by the way, I don't know if you saw, I know all these people send him packages, I get it, but for him to follow that up with a quote of "let's go," and then once they won, heck yeah, like he might be bought in. I would be fine with that. So thank you, Captain. We'll see you when we see you. Stay cool. Tell Max that he's allowed to drink all the water he wants.
Yeah, open up the watering hole again for him.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Captain. Alrighty, folks. When we come back, I'll have a final word on the Toronto Rock season. I'll address a couple of things that I talked about earlier. Just giving praise to the Rock and why I felt this was special, etc. I'll get more into the Finals MVP stuff as well, but you're watching Daily Dive. The Toronto Rock, of course, have won the NLL Championship. More on that after this break.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening. You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Sports are always happening. Head over to natalkradio.com and click the event tickets tab today. And not just sports, but any event tickets that you want. I went to a Hot Wheels event that I thought was a monster truck event and felt like a 10-year-old again and probably looked like one, but that was my fault. Event tickets tab at natalkradio.com takes you straight to Vivid Seats, and there you can type in your favorite team, venue, event, etc. As we mentioned before, the Toronto Rock have won the NLL Championship, sweeping the weekend. And what a weekend it was. I keep mentioning that Game 1 was absolute cinema. Like, everything you love about the National Lacrosse League, you saw in Game 1. There are so many games I point to where it's like, this is why we watch. This is why I'm entertained. This is why I invest my time into doing a daily show, because Game 1 was amazing to watch. I also loved, again, the fact that TSN, for Canada's sake, was all over Game 1 and Game 2, kept on posting about it, even pissing off certain fans. And I'll say, you know what? I'm okay with that because the NBA is going to work regardless. The NLL needed this coverage. John Gruden who kept on saying things about The Rock. Loved that. It wasn't just a package. He kept on doing it. I love everything about this. I also want to mention The Rock were just all season long. We knew they'd be right there at the end. Whether or not you thought Buffalo or Vancouver or Georgia or Colorado, any of them, Saskatchewan, remember them? I mean, good Lord. We don't even mention the Rush at this point anymore, and we thought they were the Kings after week 10. But Toronto Rock were always there. They were always lurking. They had some games fall in their favor. I know Rochester fans think about that game. I know the Buffalo Bats beat them like 12-7 or whatever it was earlier this year. I know San Diego, Cam Dunkerley might have shown some folks that he's capable of being a full-time starter. But man, in the end, it was always Toronto. And the fact that for the last at least 4 years that I've done this show, the Rock had been knocking. They kept on knocking on heaven's door. And when heaven opened up, they were full steam ahead through the pearly gates. And now they were immortalized in National Lacrosse League and sports history. I also mentioned, as this sport inevitably grows, whether it be little by little, as it always has, or an explosion like the WNBA experienced, we're going to remember this. And they are deserving champions. The emotions of Chris Boucher, of Nick Rose, Sheldon Rogers, it was evident that this meant something so great to them. I think that they're set up for a long time. I still think CJ Kirsch was my finals MVP. Sam English, though, was a deserving winner of this. I thought Nick Rose had an argument. I just feel like The Rock, everything fell into place. And these rookies, man, oh my God. I have a Sam English take that I probably should save for another show, but I'm going to do it right now. I'm fully convinced if he wanted to, and if the coaches want him to, this guy could be one of the most dangerous offensive players in the NLL. Think about what makes Sam English show so dangerous. Obviously, his speed. Do we not think that his IQ alone could make him, and no offense to Jonathan Donville, but could Sam English play a Jonathan Donville-esque role? Donville's a lot of IQ, making the right plays, taking a shot if he needs to, making a pass. Is Sam English a better passer than Donville? Probably not. But the IQ would be there. You would be the captain of the offense, it feels like already, or at least for the right side or the left side. Like Mark Matthews is not going to be a spring chicken forever, and that spring chicken's got bad knees. Or whatever it is, shoulder, whatever he deals with. It was an old man joke. But Mark Matthews is not going to keep on doing this. Sam English also turns out a good goal scorer. We see Sheldon Rogers do the patented step and swim move, the first step. This guy makes Sheldon Rogers look like a nursing home resident. He looks slow. And it's because this guy has a wickedly dangerous first step. And it was, I believe game 2 we saw it. I was like, oh my, you can't teach that. That is athleticism, and that is IQ to know where to go, and when to pull that trigger. I'm telling you, folks, don't just, the dilemma in my head right now on this transition designation, obviously there's a space for it in the game because this guy is one of the reasons why. Zach Currier, obviously. But some players, you wonder, are they good at offense? I'm going to say it again. This guy could be an offensive star if he wanted to and if the team wanted to. I'm not kidding. He is nasty. And if you're like, well, who are we going to use on the lefties, well, on the left side with the righties? Dowling had a down year. Bushi getting old. Challen getting old. Oh, we have a CM English. And I know there's other guys coming in. I get it. But this guy is nasty. And I don't think these are one-offs. I think this guy could do this every single game. But again, he's so good at everything. Why limit him, I guess? I don't know. I feel like as these contracts get bigger, I could see more guys like him playing offense because that's what gets paid. Like this dude's, he is disgusting. Wow, there you go. Fallen Angel says, new commentary, I think, unless he comes before. Speaking of the dynasty, let's talk about it. It's funny how Halifax seems like what Toronto, like these last 2 or 3 years for Halifax is what the last 5 years have been for Toronto. Like knocking on the door, and now are they full steam ahead? Now, sometimes, like all the time actually, in the NBA, in the NFL, is so notorious for this. Like, oh my God, they won the championship. So many young pieces. They're going to start a dynasty, right? We don't know. Because sometimes teams fall flat on their face. They don't live up to what all the hype was. But with Toronto, the rookies are why they won the finals. You can say Nick Rose, and I don't hate that. But the finals MVP, once we saw what we saw, was going to CJ or Sam. It was unreal. These guys took over. They made the old guys look not old, but a little bit past their prime. They definitely made Halifax look that way. And I don't think that's a mistake. These draft picks are also not just like late round steals. They're top of the top. They're cream of the crop. Apparently they got Sam English in what was a Desert Dogs trade. Thank you, Las Vegas, for that, says Jimmy Dowlick. And also, I said they have a Jimmy Dowlick, like that works too. I think Catherine made a great point about Nick Rose. Just going forward, just going forward for the Rock, I wonder how long he'll play. But as Catherine said, if you're going to play a style of not move a lot and not put a toll on your body because your defense is that good, play that way by all means. Like sometimes it felt like Matt Vince in his later years, at least that I saw him, would kind of wait to the playoffs to turn it on and go crazy. Nick Rose did that in these second halves. Again, 2 combined goals in the 2 finals games in the second half of the Halifax Thunderbirds. Unbelievable. Unreal. Another point on Toronto, the fans. It's up to the fans now. I don't think, like, down here in Georgia, if the Swarm were to win a title, let's say argument like next year, I don't think 80% of the state still knows who they are. I don't. Folks, I keep reminding people, if you tell people down here in Southeast Georgia, hey, I do a lacrosse talk show, what word is that? They either don't know the word or their mind immediately goes to, oh, I don't like lacrosse because they see the field version. I'm telling you, it happens. I was one of them. Toronto Rock fans don't have that excuse. You guys know lacrosse, and your lacrosse is not this version. With all respect, box is just a better version of lacrosse. And people in the Toronto, the GTA area, it's hard not to know what the sport is. If you can't support the Rock next year, I don't know when you can. Because we saw the advertising. I thought they picked it up late. People know now, if they did not before, who you are, who the Toronto Rock are. And game 1, folks, I'm begging you to just watch some of the scenes in game 1. It was electric. It was 400, And they were all on their feet, waving a white towel, loving what they saw. When CJ Kerr said, Rock City, everyone exploded into applause. That's what's possible in this league. And it's what's possible next year with the Toronto Rock. And as you heard Captain say, hey, that barn is awesome. They did great work on it. Captain went there for a game on behalf of Daily Dive. He saw it firsthand. The hype is real. And now that the Toronto Rock are champions, I am begging the fans to keep going to the games. Folks, I dread the day when the NLL has ticket prices that feel like they're too expensive. Because it won't seem fair. These tickets are still not expensive. Finals tickets were like $50, man. That doesn't happen. Be part of the trend, bro. And again, for the Toronto Rock, they earned every bit of this title. They have been there the last 4 or 5 years. They have been in the playoffs. This year, they were always right there. And we all should have seen it coming. But when they finally broke through, they flexed their muscles. Nick Rose, Matt Sawyer, a healthy Latrell Harris, Mark Matthews, who was the exile of the Rush. Oh, how that worked out. The CJ Kirst, Spinals MVP Sam English, all of them contributed in massive ways. They all earned it. And they are 1,000% deserving champions. And I do think, I thought one of the best comments of the weekend was a fan on Twitter who said, it's now a race for 8 next year with Buffalo and Toronto. I will say this to the Buffalo Bandits fan. Just hope there's a plan after Matt Vince. I'm sure there is. But just hope. Because what we saw from Toronto might have been the start, or should I say the restart, of an engine ready to roll down the tracks. The Rock have had their dynasty before. But this feels like another one. It really does. Shout out to them. Shout out to their fans. And for all of you fans that did say fire Sawyer and get rid of Nick Rose, you showed your passion. Fans are fanatics. And they say crazy things. It's one of the reasons I try not to be a fan. I'm a fan of the league and the sport. I don't like to root for teams because I don't like the mindset. Plus, I prefer media. But you guys earned this. I don't hate on people because they wanted their team to be better. They wanted fire Matt Sawyer and get rid of Nick Rose comes from a place of, God, I wish they just come through for us. It doesn't mean they hate them, even though they think they do. Subconsciously, they wanted those guys to win, and now they did. So to everyone involved, you all deserve a round of... Yeah. If you thought that was loud again, rewatch Game 1. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. North American Talk Radio's YouTube channel, 1 o'clock Eastern. We still have a fun week or two left of this show. I definitely need a mental reset. So we'll see how this goes. I might last till next Friday, she said. But we'll keep an eye on it. We got more guests coming on as always. Fresh Fits is still underway at Daily Dive LAX on Twitter and Instagram. I believe Dane Smith was just voted over Ryan Keenan. So Dane Smith will be in the championship. Hello, Buffalo fans. Deacon Knott looks to be destroying Tyrell Hammer-Jackson. So we are going to try to interview the winner of that. Again, you, the fans, are voting on it. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you tomorrow. Not much shows left, but thank you for the live viewers, the replay, etc. I am your host, Michael Karvelis. This has been Daily Dive. The Toronto Rock are your and our NLL champions. See you tomorrow.